So of course we'll keep an eye on that one, but our focus is going now to the main table. Desislava Bozhelova, the referee, just informing the two players about the procedure with regard to how the shot clock is being managed.
Okay. Yeah, 60 after the break, 60 after the push. Yeah. Thank you.
So we've had the lag. Ko Ping Chung has won it, and he's going to start us off. US Open champion, can he back it up with a similar title here in the capital city of Vietnam? Let's see if he can get one step closer.
Well, if you remember the final day, Michael, at the US Open, I think Ko Ping Chung, I believe he potted every single time on the break. The one ball in the side, maybe he missed one, but the stat was very high. In the opening break here, he's just missed the one ball.
Max Lechner from Austria, 33 years of age, ranked number 12 in the world. It's actually fallen a few places in 2023. Started the year inside the top 10, largely because of his run to the US Open final round about this time last year.
Restart to 30 seconds.
Decided to put Max back in, so Max is going to play the jump shot. He should go close to potting this ball. It's not the most difficult, it's just the distance you've got to judge. Yeah, you could see how close he got as he left a shot. Well, he looks like he has, but it all depends on where the cue ball goes after potting the one. It looks like it's going close to the side.
Ko Ping Chung, the younger of the two, recently turned 28. He's number 5 in the world. And he has soared so far this year, because at the start of January he was down at number 22 in the rankings.
Yeah, so the cue ball was nowhere near the side. Well, it was close, but didn't scratch. That's what I meant. So, chance for Ko Ping Chung. Another master of cue ball control excellence, displayed at the recent US Open Pool Championship, where on the finals day, Michael, he played unbelievable. Oh, early mistake there. Missed the 6, the combo there.
So Lechner returns to the table with another chance to get in, but clearly a much more straightforward opener this time.
Yeah, these two have got a lot of history, haven't they, Michael, in these big settings? They really have.
Yeah, well, they met in the US Open, the quarter-final stage. Ko Ping Chung coming through that on his way to the title. They also clashed in the semi-finals of the US Open last year. Lechner coming through in a hill-hill finish before losing the final to Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. I think it's fair to say this is a clash of two of the nicest, friendliest guys you could ever possibly hope to meet.
Landed pretty straight on the pink 4, so he'll either just pull back and come past the 8. That'll leave himself a nice angle on this purple 5, which is over the corner. Now he's just got to make sure he comes to the left of the 8 ball, just come past. Don't want to get too much into this, because that side pocket could be lurking. That's why he's gone forward. But watch out, 8-ball. If this bounces, he's hooked himself. Oh, Max, that is a poor shot. I think he should have just played it back off the one rail. Clearly scared of that side pocket. That's why he went forward. But on this slidey table,
Extension, please.
it's not easy to get the right amount of bite on the cue ball. Big moment here. It's only rack 1.
And yet, looking at it from there, well, I'm actually sitting right behind the shot from the overhead angle. It looks almost like he might be able to get through to the 7. Although, when you look at it from here, he clearly can't. Already attempted one jump in this rack. This time, though, it's more successful. Still plenty of work to do to put this opening rack on his side of the ledger. Yeah, it was a good pot on the 7 with the jump shot, but there's always a good chance he'd be left with a tough 8. So it's proved. So it's turned into one of those racks where whoever loses it will have some regrets. And now it seems those regrets will belong to Max Lechner. Missed his chance there to lay down an early marker against the man in form. He's won 2 big tournaments recently, Chung, and he's also won an eventful opening rack here. He leads Max Lechner 1-0 in the last 16 of the Hanoi Open. Jason Shaw has won all of the first 4 racks against Jan van Lierop, the Dutch player who's been steadily enhancing his reputation throughout the year. Winner of that will play Fedor Gorst in the quarterfinals later today. And no further update in the other match going on at the moment. Kyle Amorotto leading Lucius Yap 3-0 as we relive some of the many significant moments of the first rack in this match. Well, that I think was the most significant moment of all, really. Getting himself hooked on the 7. Lechner managed to jump out of it, make the pot. Left himself with an 8 that proved
Thank you. The second rack.
one hurdle too many. So Chung leading
Leading by
1-0,
one rack
10
to
required for a place in the quarters. Well, all sorts of things might have happened there. What did happen in the end was the 6 being kicked in. You see the 1 almost went in the side. Cue ball dangerously close to the corner pocket. But all in all, it's turned out okay.
Yeah, this is very thin into this side, so again, it's all about the cue ball control. He's got to try and pop this ball, control the cue ball for the blue 2. Well, it was that thin, he's missed it. This is quite unusual for Chung, Michael. Surely, watching his big brother losing is not going to affect his performance.
There's all sorts of things you could say. It's very early to be drawing any conclusions anyway, but he's out there on the main table. He's a massive tournament winner now. There's a bit more expectation on him, and you can see the levels of interest here in Hanoi. Could be a combination of all of those things. That said, we are only in the second rack, and of course he is leading the match, albeit after a couple of unexpected errors from him in the first rack. As I said, Lechner hasn't won one of these big titles yet, but he's been very consistent at doing well in events of this nature. There's that run to the final of the US Open around about this time last year. He's had good runs at the World Championship.
Extension code.
Multiple occasions. And he was in the final of the International Open in Virginia, an event really quite similar in format and quality of field and prestige to a tournament like this. maybe just a slight step below. Beaten by Jason Shaw in the final of that in Virginia, round about this time 4 years ago. Beat Ko Ping Chung on the way to that final. Again, that's not where he was trying to place the cue ball. So still on the 4, but just having to bear the 8 in mind a little bit in his bridging. But all looks fairly routine from here.
Best of these meetings, isn't it, Michael? So Max will know that. He's got quite a good temperament, Lechner. Well, a very good temperament, to be fair. He always does the right things away from the table, and when he sits in his chair, he's always looking super focused. So I'm sure there's a little bit somewhere in the brain where he's thinking, this guy keeps beating me.
And so Max Lechner runs out a routine last few balls to level against Ko Ping Chung at 1 each. Such interest in the game here in Hanoi, and you can see on your screens a lot of people here. It doesn't actually fully reflect it because there's a whole tier of seating above where we are that you can't see there, and lots of people in there as well. And that's not the only way they're expressing their interest. I saw Alban Ocean arriving at the venue earlier today and was absolutely mobbed by locals, wanting pictures, autographs. So trying to make thin contact on the 1, Ko Ping Chung made no contact at all. And that has turned out to be really the key moment of rack 2, which has gone the way of Max Lechner.
Thank you. The third rack. Max Lechner to break. 1 rack each.
A large part of why Lechner gets himself in these positions is the break shot. And of course, right on cue, a dry break.
It's been a barren start to the match from a breaking point of view all round. Ko Ping Chung looking to repeat what he did at the US Open by winning the title despite an early defeat in the tournament. Had to go to the loser's side and win 3 matches there. Got a walkover in the opening round and then played Bernie Regilario, young player from the Philippines, who really raised so many eyebrows with a 9-2 win. So Ko beat a couple of local Vietnamese opponents in his next 2 matches for a total loss of only 2 racks, but knew he'd face a tougher test against Tolian Han, World Cup finalist, along with Aloysius Yap for Singapore last year. Came through at 9-6, but impressive results so far since getting through to single elimination. 10-1 against Jose Alberto Delgado, and 10-4 against Francesco Candela, who we saw playing for Italy at the World Cup of Pool in the summer. You were talking about his positional play in the US Open final, and maybe you remember it differently, Carl, but I can't really think of many outstanding pots he pulled off in that run of 10 racks in a row, because he wasn't leaving himself any. His position was so good over and over again.
Yeah, I can't specifically think of the match against Yap, but I know when he played Fedor, he played 3 or 4 shots in that match where he made look very easy, which to the untrained eye probably looked easy, but I know myself and JJ was in comms for the final, obviously, and we knew how pure he'd hit the ball. But it really was a masterclass, not just in the semis. I know he beat Yap 10 racks to 0, but just the whole day, the occasion, as you walk in the arena, you've got to win 2 matches to win the title.
Yeah, for sure, there were some big moments along the way, but generally, he was winning all those racks in a row in both of those matches. He was very often making it look, as you say, very straightforward. And he leads this match against Max Lechner by 2 racks to 1. More in a moment.
Whatever you choose.
But also, I think we're more... Last 16 of the inaugural staging of the Hanoi Open. Major event on the World 9-Ball Tour. And it's Chung, who's just won the US Open, one of the biggest of them all, who leads Max Lechner of Austria by 2 racks to 1.
Yeah, that's the break we seen in Atlantic City. Potting the one in the side, staying at the table. He's got to look at the blue too. It's not the easiest opener. But all you can ask for is a shot, and that's what he's got. Playing this to the top left, I think. Yeah, the 3 balls covering the other pocket, so this isn't to the top left. Probably just, well, I was thinking he'll play a little soft stun into the pink 4, but that's going to run the 4 ball over towards the right hand side rail, so maybe a combo. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's actually bumped it out perfect for the side. Good shot. I think Chung will start to warm into this match now. A little edgy start, which sometimes it can go that way. You're not always going to just go out and play lights out.
I mentioned Chung recently turned 28, but he's been around for such a long time. Got to the final of a very big event in Japan when he was only 15. Was beaten there by Torsten Homan, 2-time world champion. And only 5 years after that, he was in the semi-finals of the World Championship, heavily beaten by Shane Van Boening, who then lost the final to Chung's brother, Yi, who we saw earlier today. And you summed it up perfectly a moment ago, Carl. Didn't look settled early on, but much more at home now. Little bit to do here with the 8, but shouldn't be any great problem.
Me and JJ touched on this at the start of the show, Michael. I don't think it's going to be long before we see a final between the two brothers in a big major.
They did play each other in one of the big events last year, and it was just horrible, wasn't it? Clearly neither of them was comfortable with it at all. Someone who's looking very comfortable at the moment is Jason Shaw, because he's leading the young Dutchman Jan van Lierop by 7 racks to 0. So the Shaw-Gorst quarter-final that we've been speculating about is just a few racks away from happening. Kyle Amorotto is also going well, 5-1 up against Aloysius Yap. The winner of that will play the winner of the match we're watching on the main table. This is Jan van Lierop. Such a great tradition from the Netherlands, led by Niels Feijen, the likes of Nick Vandenberg as well, who's been in a couple of World Cup finals with Feijen. Mark Bijsterbosch, who came so agonisingly close to winning the Spanish Open back in the summer. So following in that tradition, right now though he's just trying to get a rack on the board. He's got an opportunity there. We'll tell you how it turns out. Chung, after that quick kill in rack 4, starts us off in the 5th. Yeah, another ball missed. That one less surprising. He's had a bit of good fortune, but we weren't seen to miss many of those over the weekend in Atlantic City. We weren't seen to miss much of anything. Unlike Chung, Max Lechner did not have to go to the loser's side. He nearly did, though. In fact, he played Jan van Lierop, who we saw on our screens a moment ago, in winners'
Extension
qualification, and it went hill before he got through. And then two very different matches yesterday. 10-2 over Elliot Sanderson, part of the British team we saw get to the quarterfinals of the World Cup in the summer. Much closer against Hona Suto Camino, 10-8 that one.
Has he fluked it? Oh, he has. I wonder if he can get to this 3-ball, the potting angle.
Bit of good fortune, but then, as Ko Ping Chung acknowledged, Lechner was unfortunate with the way the balls had run after Ko's miss on the previous shot.
Oh, Max Lechner with a golden opportunity there to punish the mistake from Ko Ping Chung. Fluked the 2-ball, opportunity gone.
Yeah, they've both missed a cut. Back into that pocket now in this rack. They're the moments where a match can so easily get away from you. That was Lechner's chance to close to only one behind. He's passed it straight back, and now the opportunity there for Ko Ping Chung to take a firm grip on this last 16 contest.
That was an awkward shot he played there. He actually played it very nice. I only could see a little edge of the red 3, and if you look at the gap he's landed in, so this has been awkward. This is also awkward. Yeah, that's why he just cinched it. He just stopped the cue ball in its place, pinched a bit of the pocket.
But this is what we were saying earlier, wasn't it? That at the US Open, when he was in such good form and really got into his stroke, he was making everything look so easy just through the quality of his play.
And these are the racks what really hurt you as an opponent when you've had a chance. Especially when Max got that bit of good fortune, Michael. He's not capitalised, and then the racks can start to run away from you. You know, this is turning into a one-sided match early on. And that's down to Lechner not taking his chance there in rack 5.
Yeah, and I think those things are even more relevant when you're coming in as the outsider in the match, which most players are against Ko Ping Chung, the way he's been playing of late. And so that's 3 in a row for the US Open champion. He leads 4-1. Kyle Amarato leads Lucius Yap 6-1. And Jan van Lierop, we saw there trying to avert the whitewash, or the prospect of one, against Jason Shaw. Well, he has taken that 8th rack, but Shaw firmly in control there. The Scot leads 7-1. So the 1 was made off the break. But then the miscut on the 2. Bit of fortune to leave Lechner hooked. But then it was Lechner's turn to have the luck running his way, making the 2 in the side. So the luck really had balanced out. But then so had the mistakes, because Lechner missed into the very same pocket. Sat down for the rest of the rack.
Thank you. Rack 6. Ko Ping Chung to break. Leading by 4 racks.
So he's getting a bit of momentum in this match, and if you want to know what Ko Ping Chung can be like when he gets on a roll, just ask Lucius Yap and Fedor Gorst. They were both firmly on the receiving end of it in Atlantic City a fortnight ago.
Struggling with the break at the moment though. I think he's only made the 1, just the once.
Well, he's done 2 out of his 5 breaks, so 3 of the 5 dry, so your point is certainly very valid.
It's a tough shot though. That camera angle and this angle makes it, look at the watch gleaming. As he made it, he stayed very still. These shots come up a lot in the game of pool, and it's a shot we see the pros miss. It's because you're playing it into a blind pocket. The pocket's not quite in your eye line. You're going to play it with a bit of spin, so everything has to just fall into place, otherwise you catch one of the rails.
Missed the cut into that very same pocket a few minutes ago. Could ill afford to do it again. That run to the US Open quarterfinals, highlight of his year so far really. Was a quarterfinalist at the World Masters as well, beaten by Niels Fyen, but that's a 16-man event, so only had to win one match to get there. World Championship last 16 was a decent showing. Last 32 at the UK Open. In the Spanish and European Opens he made single elimination, but went no further, beaten in the last 64 of both of those. So I think overall it's fair to say would have hoped for more from 2023 so far. There's a man who's very happy with his year. So Chung is still going to be a couple of racks clear here, but he'll be as aware as anyone. He really needs to improve his break. It's not been his friend so far in the match. Another dry break in this rack. Not hard to identify that as the key moment, because Max Lechner has capitalised to the full. And after losing 3 in a row, he's taken that one very efficiently. Lechner closes to 4-2 down here in Hanoi.
I have an idea what it could be. McDonald's. Easiest. Just to know what everybody wants. No, they reckon only the second game. That's it. Yeah. The first game.
It's the last 16 of the Hanoi Open.
Max Lechner to break.
So many star names
Trailing by
from
4
around
racks
the
to
world
2.
have come here to compete for this major title on the World 9-Ball Tour. Nobody's a hotter star at the moment than Chung after just winning the US Open, his second significant title in recent months. He's lost the last rack, though, to Max Lechner. The Austrian has closed to 4-2 behind. He breaks in the 7th. Second break of the match, and this one, like the first, has come up dry, but a bit of fortune there, Carl.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's left the potting angle here, does it? So, difficult to see if you can see a slight edge.
Push out code.
I would say not, so it's going to be the push out, but this seems to be the story of this match now. Players not making the 1-ball.
Well, we've had 7 breaks now, and 5 of them, nothing's been potted. I mentioned Chung winning a couple of big titles, US Open, the big one, weekend before last, but he also won the Sharks International Tournament in Quezon City in July. Such a strong field for that. Lots of world ranking points, which propelled him into the top 10 and no doubt gave him a platform in terms of confidence to go on and win at Harris last month.
Back to Ping Chung.
Now this is their very own jump cue. This is the code jump cue. They've got their own brand of jump cues. They excel in this department of the game, but I don't blame Lechner for giving this shot back.
Yeah, not a bad attempt, and again, not sure he's left any access to the potting angle. Be able to tell for sure from here.
All depends if Lechner can avoid the 9-ball. I think he can. Just stun the cue ball in behind the purple.
Yeah, it had to be the safety, and he's played it well.
Extension code.
Playing
Back
good
shot.
safeties
Go in hand.
will always stand you in good stead in any match, tournament, seasons, years. If you can play tight
Start the
safeties,
clock, please.
you're going to carve out chances for yourself.
Extension code.
Talk a lot about the Austrian contingent, and there are some other players on the way up, but really it's all about Lechner, Mario He and Alban Ocean, and Ocean has really led the way in recent years in terms of pool players looking after their fitness and their whole lifestyle in a way that benefits their game, and it's something that Lechner started to really latch on to around about the time of COVID and the lockdown. Started working with a physical fitness trainer, Gerhard Parneller. Worked out 4 times a week for best part of a year. Gained a lot of weight and said that it really enhanced his game in terms of how stable he feels at the table, how well he feels as well. We all know about the benefits of mental health when it comes to being fit. And he's also used that fitness to give him the sense of endurance, to practice a lot. Regularly practices 10 hours a day for several days in a row, he was telling me earlier in the year.
Yeah, you can see the veins popping out of his arm there.
You were never out of the gym during your playing days, Carl.
How different it is now. I need to get back in there though, because I think you just summed it up right, Michael. I know you do a lot of running and it's just so good for you. It just makes you feel a lot better, doesn't it? And it's very hot in this arena. I think it's worth saying. And during the interval, I just nipped out of the comms area and I kind of walked near Max and I heard him say to Albin, boy, it's hot out there. So I think being fit, being alert, feeling awake, I think it's a massive advantage.
Yeah, Albin Ocean, the two-time world champion who you just referred to there, one of that Austrian contingent. He's still in this tournament, which is a bit of a miracle really, because he was 7-2 down against Shane Van Boning last night and amazingly ended up winning it. So he'll be playing Alexander Kazakis quite shortly. So the conditions are hot, and predominantly so far in this match the breaks have been dry. Another one here for Lechner. He's going to take the rack anyway. Making it 2 in a row and getting back to one behind at 4-3. Well, Ocean and Kazakis may not have to wait much longer for that match, because Kyle Amoroto is closing in on victory over Aloysius Yap. It's 7-2 now to the young man from the Philippines. Winner of that will play the winner of this one. And Jan van Lierop has managed to get a couple of racks on the board against Jason Shaw. But the Scottish player is leading now 8-2, so just needs a couple more to set up a mouth-watering last 8 clash later today with Fedor Gorst. Of course, they will now be on opposing sides at the Mosconi Cup after this week's announcement that Gorst, who's been resident in the States for some time, has previously won a Mosconi Cup with Europe, will now be playing for the US. And we're in North London. All the action starts at Alexandra Palace on the 6th of December. Max Lechner still won't have given up on his dream of being there. He can qualify automatically, potentially, if he wins the tournament. And he's back to only one behind in this match, 4-3. Still can pot a ball off the break, though, after 3 attempts.
That's a brave attempt. You've got to put your full trust into the table fitter. The table fitter has passed the test, Michael. Okay, what's Lechner got here? Well, he's going to have to play this with spin. And he's got to watch the side pocket. If he catches it, oh, he's miscued here, you know. Yeah, he miscued.
And he still might hit it. Well, unless he grazes the 4 on the way. But for that, it seemed to be heading on the path.
Start the clock, please.
So there's the tip tool, that comes out. Scuff the tip up a little bit. A lot of the times when you miscue off the rail, it's because you're not cueing down on the ball enough. You've just got to cue down a little bit. You don't want to be completely flat.
Code.
He tends to build into things, Ko Ping Chung. Doesn't always start the match well. He struggled a bit early on here. Doesn't always start a tournament well. He was defeated early here and at the US Open before going on to win it. He's been the same for his year, really. Last 32 of the World Championship, where he was narrowly beaten by eventual semi-finalist Mario He, and started to step things up a bit in the UK Open, got to the quarters there. Was well behind against Declan Catchy, but almost beat him before losing to the eventual champion. Then went on from there to get that win in a tournament, maybe just a step below this that I was talking about in Quezon City in the summer. And then continued his upward curve by winning the US Open. And when he gets hot, he gets very hot. To win 11 racks in a row in the semi-final of the US Open, and then 10 in a row in the final against players of the calibre of Yap and Gorst. And he shows what he can do when he gets a bit of momentum behind him, whether it's in a match, a tournament, or, as we've just outlined there, in the course of a season.
This could do with keep going. Doesn't want to be on the rail. Okay, may have to play this slower. Yeah, this is where the cue ball's going to go. The slide off the top rail wants to pull this ball to the left. I'm just going to keep an eye on the 6 ball. If it catches the rail soon, may miss this ball. Yeah, it's hooked the rail. Good shot.
Chung looked to be establishing a firm grip on this contest when he won 3 racks in a row to lead 4-1. Lost the next couple. But he's taken this one to hold on to the lead and indeed extend it to a couple of racks. 5-3. He's halfway now to victory. Jan van Lierop is continuing his surge there against Jason Shaw, was 7-0 down, back to 8-3. Still a big ask to try and win it, but at least getting a few on the board on a big day for the young Dutch player. And Lucius Yap is trying to turn things around against Kyle Amoroto, but he's still got a lot of ground to make up. 7-3 to the youngster from the Philippines. Chung, as I was saying, moved into the world's top 10 with his win in the Philippines. He's now number 5. And if he was to win the title, he would leave here as the official world number 2. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz definitely still going to be number 1, despite his defeat earlier today to Sanjin Pelovanovic. That is the setting here in Hanoi, the capital city of Vietnam. As you can see, it's a healthy crowd, but it's not always reflected when you look at it. If you're not actually in the arena, there are all kinds of pockets and an upper tier. There are so many more people sitting. It's been a great success here. We've got the Efren Reyes exhibition coming up later today. So much still to look forward to at the end of what's already been a memorable week. 5-3 to Chung.
Yeah, Jason Shaw is just playing to the right hand side of where we're set, Michael. And I can see there's a lot of fans around there. I think Jason and Fedor Gorst got the biggest reception when the players walked down at the opening ceremony.
Yeah, I'm glad you noticed that too, actually. I thought exactly the same thing. Well, they love Jason, I guess, from Mosconi Cups, even in the parts of the world that aren't involved in the Mosconi. It's still a very big deal, and he's really made his name there. Great to watch as well, and any of these fans who've been lucky enough to meet Jason, well, they're bound to warm to him. He's always so friendly and his time for everyone. Lechner, as I was saying, can still qualify for this year's Mosconi, but for that to have any chance of happening, he's got to go all the way to the title. Shaw in pole position at the moment to claim the one remaining automatic spot alongside the Spanish pair, Sanchez Ruiz and David Alcady, who are both already confirmed on the team.
Ball in hand for Lechner. And a quick scan around the table. Doesn't look to be a bad layout. Little unfortunate there to hit the one and scratch in that corner. Cue ball out into the centre of the table is ideal.
Yeah, just with that Mosconi situation, Lechner would qualify automatically by winning the tournament if he beats anyone other than Jason Shaw in the final, because if Shaw gets to the final, then it won't matter what anyone else does. Two players will then be added by Ralph Eckert, the European captain, for the first time. I think we'll get the announcements of those maybe a week to 10 days after we leave here. Not that long now, to the 6th of December when it all starts. Fedor Gorst, Skylar Woodward and Shane Van Bonin already in the US team, so Jeremy Jones now knows what he's choosing from in terms of his two selections. And knowing Jeremy and how thorough he is about these things, he'll be spending a lot of time making sure he's made the right choices over the next number of days before it's all announced.
This is not ideal. He's got to jack down on the cue ball, get it spinning back. Or he can go forward if he avoids hitting the 8 ball with the cue ball. Yeah, the C is striking down on this one. Oh, good shot, Lechner.
That shot on the 6th there underlines what you were saying earlier. There are a lot of shots that, if you've not played at a high level, you don't understand how difficult they are. I think most average players, even if they'd made that pot, would probably have drawn the cue ball way back towards them to try and stop it where he did. It was an excellent effort. There's no question they've both made mistakes in this match so far, but they've also played some good stuff along the way. In these last few racks, Max Lechner has been having the better of it. He's won 3 of the last 4 now. Once again, he trails by only 1. Ko-Ping Chung now leads 5-4. A match that looked to be in danger of slipping away easily from Max Lechner early on is now one that he's right back in with a chance of winning. He's won 3 of the last 4 racks and is breaking now, looking to draw level once again with Ko Ping Chung. 5-4 to Ko. Lechner with the break.
Wow, there's the one ball. Cue ball's going close. Heartache for Lechner.
Yeah, first time in 4 attempts he's actually made a ball off the break in this match, but not going to do him any good. How quickly the momentum can just slip away. Turned it round from significant early deficit to be back within touching distance. Scratches off the break, and now, with ball in hand, great chance for Ko to reassert himself.
Yeah, and just look at the balls. It doesn't look like there's loads of traffic. It's all going to be about the 8 ball. The 8 ball doesn't pass the 9, so he's got to play it in the bottom right. Once he pots the pink 4, that clears the way. And then you can see how close it is to the side pocket from that angle. So he probably needs to get near the rail, near the 9 ball, off the 7 ball. So there's a tiny bit of work to do near the end of this rack. Well, he's missed a trick here. He was so concerned about the 8, he decided to play it off, and he's hooked himself, Michael. I think that just shows you he's not quite feeling 100%. Because I'm sure he could have got the cue ball on the side rail from where the 7 was, which would have meant leaving the 8 where it was, and he wouldn't be hooked. Got to hit a rail, which he does. He could be in a world of trouble here. I'll tell you what, Lechner could chase the 9 ball here. He's got a free shot at it. He can play the 4 onto the 9 and stun the cue ball in behind the 8 ball. Free go to tie the match up. Well, what has he done here? What on earth has Lechner done here?
Well, that's just incredible. He's played it in such a way that he's bound to pot the 4, really.
Yeah, he was obviously playing the hook,
Thank you.
but if you look at this angle again, he can play it into the 9, stun the cue ball off the rail, in behind the 8. That's just amazing moment here. Both players.
But clearly you could see there, it wasn't a case that the 4 just went off a couple of rails and dropped in. You could see from the moment the 4 was hit that it was going to go into that pocket. He's misjudged that to an unbelievable degree. Now the trouble he was hoping to put Ko in, he's landed himself in it. Oh, well, almost got out of it in the most emphatic manner possible.
Yeah, and I think overall he'll be delighted with where the 2 balls are finished. Made a good hit, Michael. Nearly fluked it in the left corner. That was probably the intention, to try and pot it in there. You just don't want to leave your opponent an easy shot. So at least Ko Ping Chung's got to step up and pot a good ball in the right centre. Also needs to avoid the scratch. So play the cue ball off 3 rails. Yeah, he's trying to pot this in the right centre. Has he got it? Oh, he's missed it by a mile. An absolute mile.
Well, through a combination of events, he's basically got away with that extraordinary lapse in potting the 4 and leaving himself hooked on the 5 a few moments ago. Now he's got to turn his good fortune into putting another one on the board and getting level for the first time since it was 1-all.
Just got to play a stop shot.
A huge error on the 4, the kind of thing that might have played on his mind a bit had he lost the rack. Of course, you can always put something like that out of your mind if you win the rack anyway. And that is what Max Lechner has been able to do. So from 4-1 down, he's now completed the recovery to draw level at 5-all. Seen a couple of turnarounds for the ages already this week. Anton Raga against Billy Thorpe. Alban Ocean winning from 7-2 down against Shane Van Boning last night. It was looking for a while like Jan van Lierop might pull off one of those against Jason Shaw. From 7-0 down, he won 4 of the next 5 racks. But Jason Shaw has finished strongly there. He has ended the Dutchman's campaign with a 10-4 win, and so we will get Jason Shaw against Fedor Gorst in the quarter-finals of the Hanoi Open later today. And that completes the top half of the draw. The other match in there will be Sanjin Pelovanovic against Michael Feliciano. So everything now is about the bottom half. A couple of matches still to start. Levan Corteza against David Al-Qaedi and Alban Ocean against Alex Kazakis. Winners of those two will play each other. And Kyle Amorotto,
Thank you.
I think we briefly looked in on
Rack
there.
11,
He is
Max
leading
Lechner
Aloysius
straight.
Yap
5 racks each.
9-5 now. So Amorotto just needs one more rack to go one round further than he did at the UK Open in London right at the start of the summer. If he gets that rack, he'll play the winner of this match. And who's to say who that's going to be? It's 5-all.
Is Lechner just starting to find his range on the break shot?
Yeah, dry with his first 3, scratched in the previous rack, so this is the first time that he's broken off and is then getting to come back to the table. But what options does he have, Carl?
Doesn't look a great deal, Michael, does it? If you can see a piece of the 2. Well, is he sizing up the cut? Surely he's not. I don't see the value in this. I presume he's coming round to maybe look at playing safe. Is he trying to get the cue ball back up into that cluster of 4 balls? Well, he seems to be playing the cut here.
In the end, was left relying on a bit of good fortune, hoping the 5 would come back across and kick the 2 in. This was ambitious, Carl.
Well, he's behind the shot, don't get me wrong, but I've watched enough pool and played enough to just didn't really see the value. Because even if he potted it, Michael, the cue ball was running into the 5. It was always going to need a little bit of luck to get on the 3. Now it's just a case of connecting the dots here.
talked about how he soared up the world rankings this year from number 22 to number 5 at the moment. He was briefly 4th. But when you look at it on the one-year list, which is ranking points gained so far in 2023, the only player who's got more than Ko Ping Chung is Fedor Gorst. And if Ko was to end up winning this title, he'd move ahead of Gorst and would then certainly be the player of the year. So far, that is.
Yeah, it's the big names who find themselves here at the weekend in another big major open tournament on the World 9-Ball Tour calendar. This man at the table is our current US Open champ. Not really being on his A game in this match, but that happens. You don't play every match to your top standard, so sometimes you have to play your B game, we call it, in the game, and grind your way through and take each rack at a time.
Well, only Max Lechner can really decide whether it was right or wrong to go for that 2-ball. Either way, I'm sure he'd take it back now if he could, because Ko Ping Chung has still not been behind in this match. He's one in front again at 6-5. Aloysius Yap needs to come with something big here. Did win the last rack against Kyle Amoroto to prolong the contest, but the 21-year-old from the Philippines is still on the brink at 9-5. Has been developing a sort of mentor role under the wing of Johan Chua of the Philippines team that won the World Cup this summer, who's been advising him about all the aspects of what you need to do to be a success as a professional player in terms of preparation and lifestyle and all the rest of it. This man's found the recipe and he now leads once again at 6-5.
Is he starting to find that break shot? Obviously, you're never guaranteed on the lowest ball. All you can do is hit them as square as possible. Try and get rid of the one ball into that side. Take what the table gives you. Alex Laley, former European Mosconi Cup captain, former World Pool Masters champion as well. He said to me once that the break is like the flop at poker. You never know what you're going to get. Decent effort here.
Extension code.
Well, it looks as though it's all over. Yeah, Michael Amoroto has done the job. Or Kyle Amoroto, rather. I'm getting my new Filipino stars mixed up. Michael Feliciano, of course, already through. So 3 Philippines players made it to the last 16. 2 of them have played already, and they've both won.
Well, it's easy done, Michael, because there's that many of them in Vietnam at the minute playing this event. Played the Perry 9-Ball Open. Feliciano got to the final.
Yeah, he was also in the final of that Sharks tournament that Ko Ping Chung won. So we now know Kyle Amoroto is through, and he will play the winner of this one
difficult shot, this. I mean, very difficult. If he's playing the combination, there's so much distance. He's getting down quick. I don't believe he'll take the combination on. No, he played the hook behind the 9 ball. Smart move. He's keeping Lechner kicking here. If Chung goes on to win this match, Michael, Lechner must be getting pretty sick of his opponent.
Yeah, did have that win over him in the International Open, but not quite of the same level of prestige as their other meetings in recent times, and that was some time ago anyway. Oh, and that's a loose one. But has he had some fortune? Did you have a player like that, Carl, that just kept beating you over a long period?
Not really. I think the only one that stands out, but we didn't play a lot, and we didn't play in like quarters, semis, finals. It might have been the odd first round or a third round. I played Alex Pagulayan 3 times and lost all 3, but that was it. Everybody else I beat at some point, Michael. Actually had a really good record against Efren, but, and there is a big but, he was at the later stages of his career, so I can't really take a lot from that. Just great to play him. Played him 4 times. Managed to win all 4, but as I said, he was definitely at the last stages of his career. Still played fantastic, don't get me wrong. You could still see the genius that he is. I'm sure we'll see it a little later when he plays this exhibition match.
Lechner's been to the later stages of so many of these big events in recent years. The 2 big standout individual events in the sport are the World Championship and the US Open. He got to the quarterfinals of both of those in 2021. In that US Open run last year, pushed Francisco Sanchez Ruiz hard in the final. And here he is looking for another quarterfinal place. But he's passed up that chance to level the contest again.
Extension code?
Has he made the bank? He has. He's made the bank shot.
Yeah, and a chance to build on it as well.
Yeah, it's just a moment where Chung can just break away. It's been very scrappy. Needs to bear down. Yeah, good pot.
This is a classic case of keeping your opponent at arm's length. Lechner has still never led in this match. Had the chance here to draw level. If Chung can keep doing this all the way to the finish line, he'll be in the quarterfinals. And it's the finish line, which is now just starting to appear on the horizon. Chung, 2 clear at 7-5. Well, one Mosconi Cup legend has left the commentary box for a moment. Carl Boyes has nipped out, but he's been replaced by another. Jason Shaw is alongside us. Well done, Jason, on that win over Jan van Lierop earlier by 10 racks to 4. He came back at you a little bit towards the end, but overall a fairly accomplished display from you.
Yeah, I started off the match pretty good. I was up 6-0. I think he had maybe one or two half chances, and felt like I was going to, run the set. I was playing so good, I was breaking so good, and then a couple of little sluggish breaks, and he kind of played some good shots and got himself back in the match, and it was like 8-4. I think at 8-4 there was a big rack. We had a couple of back and forths on the safeties, and I was thinking if he wins this rack, he's really back in the game, but I managed to close out the match pretty good, and delighted to get through to the quarters again.
Does he look to you like someone who can go on and move to that next level and become a real top player?
Yeah, I think he's been around now for a little while. People have seen him, how well he's played in tournaments and stuff like that, so I feel he's definitely improving. To get to the last 16 in this event, obviously you have to be playing good, so hats off to him, and I feel like I feel like in the next few years you're going to see a lot more of him. He's a nice young kid too.
Yeah, he's here with his parents, who seem to travel with him a lot. And now you've got Fedor Gorst, and it's a funny situation, isn't it, in the context of what's happened this week, because the two of you have been teammates. You've won a Mosconi together for Europe, but now you're on opposing sides. That's the kind of edge we love, though, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously we've been poking fun at each other all week on Facebook and other social media types, so it's been fun. But we're good friends. It's not like just because he's went over there we're not going to be friends anymore. It's just the way it is. But I look forward to the new challenge, and I'm sure the USA team's going to be a little bit stronger with Fedor in it. So the next match is going to be it's going to be fun.
Well, he would strengthen any team, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he's just a complete solid player. He does everything right by the book.
You, of course, are European living in the States as well, and I know you had a bit of fun earlier in the week. You mocked yourself up with a picture in an American jersey and announced to the world that you were defecting as well, which was clearly a joke, but a lot of people thought it was an actual announcement. We couldn't do without you, Jason.
No, I always said when I went to America, when I first lived there, I think it was just kind of off the cuff. People asked me all the time, would you play for America? And I was like, yeah, of course, I wanted to say that a little bit just to kind of make me feel more at home, maybe people liked me more for that. But yeah, I don't think I could do it. I had messages from people back home saying, don't talk to me again if you go play for USA, so I don't think I'd be taking many trips to Glasgow anymore.
No, that would be the last place to go if you'd defected, but no chance of that ever happening.
No, I'm like, someone messaged me and says, I used to love you being on the other side, you were the villain and I loved it. I loved that. He said, no, it's gone. He says, but I'm happy to have you. And I said, no, I'm still the villain. And he was like, oh, really? He was like, you really got me on that one. I said, yeah, I was just, it was more poking fun with Fedor. That was the whole reason behind it. But yeah, I'm not playing for America, and I can assure you that.
Yeah, well, you're on the brink of getting into the European team, and I remember 2 years ago you were the king of the palace. You absolutely worked that crowd. You were MVP again. You might have got the winning point again had it not been for that miscue in the singles on the final night. But I'm sure you, more than anyone, just can't wait to get back there in December.
Yeah, I think this year is going to be special with being the 30th anniversary, and I just feel like obviously with Federer joining USA, it's going to become real big on now. So there's going to be way more people tuning in. It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of American fans come over this trip, because now they're going to really feel like, I think now they're saying their favourite to win, which I don't think that's true, but I think it makes it more even in a way. I don't think anybody's favourite in a race to 5. And I've always said that when people talk about the Mosconi Cup and the scoreline, I always say if you look at like 6 or 7 matches back, they're all hill. Two of them go either way. The score could be a lot closer. So I feel like the Mosconi Cup, even though we've won by big margins, I feel like the score doesn't, there's no justice there because a lot of matches are hill. And like I said, 1 or 2 of them go the other way. And America could be up.
Well, this rack could still go either way. Koping Chung looked to have done the hard work, and that 4 was always missable, but he'll be disappointed that he has missed it. So Lechner looking to get back to 1 behind. And just to speak about this event in particular, Jason, Carl and I both noticed earlier today when we had the opening ceremony and you all walked down into the arena, the 2 biggest cheers were for Federer and you.
Yeah.
So why do you think you stand out so much here? What is it about you that the crowds love so much?
No, I think I think they have a lot of fans in Vietnam, like tons of pool rooms everywhere. So they're definitely into their pool over here. So they must watch a lot of pool, and I think they like a lot of characters. We've seen a couple of their own who's a little bit characters, and they're cheering and screaming. I think they like that. So I think me and Federer, we got a bit of character about us. So maybe they enjoy that. Maybe they enjoy me going crazy at the Mosconi Cup. Who knows?
I was going to say, I think that player from Vietnam we saw who was really working the crowd, I think he learned from watching you at Alexandra Palace a couple of years ago. He didn't come out in a wig, though, like you seem to be doing for most of that week.
Yeah, I was just, at the end of the day, it's a great event and we want to win in that, but, it's a show, right? We're putting on a show for the fans, and that's what we're there to do, and I love it. I love getting involved. I love interacting with people and the fans and stuff like that. So I think the Mosconi Cup's made for me, right? And obviously here we got the stands are absolutely packed. There must be over a couple hundred people in here easy.
Oh,
easily.
Many hundreds, yeah. The other thing as well about Alexandra Palace 2 years ago, where you really stood out for me in terms of your leadership, was we were just coming out of COVID and everyone just wanted to have a party and you gave them one.
Yeah. COVID, it's weird obviously because during COVID a lot of players didn't have access to tables. I had one in my house, so I was always playing.
Was your pool room still open in the States?
No, it had closed down, so I was at home and I had to keep leaving the house to go to the pool room. But it was strange because nobody was around and nobody was on the streets. Everyone was silent, and then I felt a bit strange. So I took one table back to my house. I disassembled it and got it back to my house, set it all up, and I think that made me practice, all the time because there was nothing else to do. I was stuck at home. So I think going into that Mosconi Cup, I was non-stop playing at home, and that Mosconi Cup you're talking about, I just felt like I was never going to miss. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this next match.
Okay, well, Jason, always a pleasure to hear from you. Well done on getting through to the quarterfinals. It's going to be the first match on the main table later against Federer Gorst. No surprise at all in that decision. And we'll see you again in a few hours' time for that one. Carl Boyes is now going to step back in. But while we were talking there, as I'm sure you'll have noticed, a big rack going on. And it finished with Max Lechner having a bit of a test to come through on the 9-ball. But it's a test that he's passed, and he's now back once again to just 1 rack behind at 7-6 as Carl steps back in for the 14th rack.
Desi's just removing the template. And it does look like Lechner can cut this ball in the middle. This will give us a better view. Yes, he can. So this is a chance. This will just take a little bit of time because the ball is actually sat on top of the template. If you're wondering what this template actually is, thinking about it, this is to ensure all the balls are touching. It's a neat little gadget some clever person, probably you, Michael, has invented.
I wish I had. I could have made my millions out of it. You know, when you hold one, it almost feels like it's not even there. It's the thinnest thing imaginable.
And there was a time where we wasn't using this on TV, and it was suggested backstage by the big bosses. It was a little bit complicated, but the pool players assured that it wasn't. It was quite easy to get the balls off, and I think the fact that every rack you get all the balls touching is very important for the players and the sport moving forward.
Lovely chat with Jason there when he came in for that rack, and as we've said, it's not guaranteed yet, by any means in fact, that he's going to get the last automatic spot, but it seems inconceivable that if results conspired against him and he missed out on the top three, that he wouldn't get a wild card. So I think it's safe enough to be looking ahead to that event with him.
Any goss? Did he share any gossip?
You mean you weren't listening?
I was just got myself off for a little bit, Michael, sorry.
No world exclusives anyway, Carl, but always interesting to chat to Jason, whether it's on air or just around the venues.
Wow. That is a favourable roll. Hit both points to the middle pocket. Look at the cue ball here. It looks like it's going to scratch. Maybe it's just Max's day. Finally, can he get a big win? Overcoping Chung.
Extension code.
Yeah, twice avoiding the scratch there, and also it rolled back out to where he was nicely on the 5.
Ideally, you'd come to the left table because the 9 ball's not covering the 7 as much. I don't know if he can get there though. It's very obvious the natural shot is to come down this side of the table where his hand is. Can he swing it round the back of the 8? Yeah, so he's coming down here. Pace needs to be key because he's got to get past the 9, which he has done.
Feels like they're both warming to the challenge as the contest goes on. Arguably, Lechner slightly more, and he needed to. He was 4-1 down. From there, he got back to 5-all. He's trailed again ever since then. But here we are once more with nothing between them. Hoping Chung 7, Max Lechner 7. Winner of this will play Kyle Amoroto in the quarter-finals. The other quarter-final in the bottom half of the draw will be between the winners of the other 2 matches that are going on at the moment. Levan Corteza, experienced player from the Philippines, has won the first 2 racks against David Alcadi of Spain, who won the European Open in Germany back in late summer. And Alexander Kazakis, former Mosconi Cup player from Greece and a past World Masters winner, has taken the first rack against Albin Ochan, who to some extent probably can't quite believe he's still here after being 7-2 down at one stage against Shane Van Boning last night.
Thank you, rack 15, Max Lechner.
Yeah, that was a big win for
7
Albin.
racks each.
So, a potential 5 racks to play. They both need 3. Not bad.
Three ball looks like it passes the pink 4 in the pocket where his hand is. So he can just stun this ball in and float across the table. Well, floated a little bit too far.
Max Lechner has never been in front in this contest. That may be just moments away from changing. Talked about his work with fitness trainer Gerhard Pardeller. He's also been putting in so much work over the last couple of years with his pool coach Bernhard Kasserer. Talked about those 10-hour sessions he said he does day after day coming up to big events. And it's on a weekend like this, you hope it all bears fruit. And if he could defeat the man in form, the US Open winner, it would surely give him the belief that this could be his time. It was David O'Cady's time in Fulda back in August. And as you can see there, the time has come for him to win his first rack against Corteza. Back to 3-1 down there. While Max Lechner, after a fine 15th rack, has moved very efficiently to the point where he has this routine 9 to lead for the first time in the match. He does so at 8-7. He's won 3 in a row, and he only needs a couple more to go through to the quarterfinals. Austria's Max Lechner looks to be finding his best form of the match at the very best possible time, and now it's a match he leads for the first time. He's won 3 racks in a row, he leads 8-7, and as he breaks in rack 16, he knows that 2 more will claim him the scalp of the US Open champion of a fortnight ago and secure him a spot in the last 8. Fair to say the breaking's improved, Carl.
Well, look at the split, Michael. Not only has it improved, he may well have just found his easiest layout of the match, and what a time to find it, to get on the hill.
He'd still be 3 wins away from the title, even if he gets through here. But if Max Lechner could finally land that first big title of his career, it would be so popular around the game. He's so well liked. Always got a smile and a word for everyone. And very open about everything. Always willing to chat about what he's doing with his game and away from the table. Really, Carl, there's not been much to say about this rack since the break, because they've all been there for him and he's just been efficient in mopping them up.
Yeah, you've just still got to do it, you know, obviously as pool players, and you know, where we watch the game a lot, we know that this was a favourable run out, but you still got to get the job done. He knows how important this rack is, because this will just give him that little bit of cushion as he finds himself just a couple of balls away from getting on the hill.
You hear terms that are overused nowadays, like textbook stuff. Well, I think it definitely applies here. Pot one off the break, get a nice split. Keep things simple as you can after that. And in this case, win the rack and get to the hill. And having only just gone 1 in front for the first time, he now has a bit of daylight. Alex Kazakis is now leading Alban Ocean 2-1. And no update for you on table 2. We saw David Al-Qaedi win the 4th rack to get back to 3-1 down against Lee Van Corteza, who's looking to complete a clean sweep for the Philippines players in this session. Wins already for Kyle Amoroto and Michael Feliciano. 3 Philippines players made it to the weekend. Still 2 Austrians left going. They could indeed meet each other in the semi-finals later today. The 2 big pals, Alban Ocean and Max Lechner. Ocean is behind in the early stages of his match. Lechner is on the hill and hoping that he's soon going to reach the end of this one. His last break of the match. Hoping he can continue the way he's been breaking in the last few racks.
No shot on the blue 2. Other than a jump shot. Of course, he can play the push out as well. He may push out into the jump shot as well, just to tease his opponent, maybe tempt him to play the jump shot.
Push out code.
The other two co-brothers perhaps keeping people informed back home of what's happening here.
Decision time. Can he slide the cue ball down towards this 9 and the pink 4?
Back to Max. Extension code.
It's not the shot he played. Hoping Chung will be tempted at the thin cut here. Boy, it's thin.
Extension code.
Oh, that was a nice pot, Michael. Had to take a gamble. Didn't quite know where the cue ball was going. Whenever it's that thin, just make sure you pot the ball, especially when your opponent's on the hill.
He's had some great times in recent months. Won a big tournament in the Philippines. Won the biggest tournament he's ever won. The weekend rather, before last.
Has he set the combo up? Can he make the combination? Can he hit it thin enough? Of course, didn't want to hit the 4 coming back off this bottom rail. This little clip here. Well, from the overhead, I don't know if he can get to it thin enough, Michael. It's very close.
What a way this would be to get back to 1 behind. Well, it wasn't on, but that will do.
Yeah, Desi's right to just have a look here. It was very close whether it clipped the 7. I have a feeling it did.
Yeah, that was my instinct as well. So marginal. So, let's have a look from here. I'm less convinced now.
Yeah, that was a tough one to call. Well done, Desi, for sending that to the monitor. She might need another look.
I think she's having another look. She's standing right here in front of us. I think she's requesting to see it again. This might tell us.
Wow, I just don't know. I could do with another 10 looks, Michael.
Now I'm leaning slightly towards 4.
I think overall where the cue ball's finished as well. Did he put... Was it a foul? I don't even know. Can't remember where the cue ball finished. Anyway, hoping Chung's at the table. I presume she called a foul, because I don't think the cue ball finished there, Michael.
Yeah, it's very easy to criticise referees sometimes, and you can see there, even with the use of technology, we couldn't decide after 3 or 4 goes.
Yeah, that just shows you how difficult it is to sometimes call a foul in the moment. Because I'd still not made my mind up myself whether it was a foul or not. But anyway, Desi's had a look. She probably knows what to look for better than us, Michael.
In the end, sometimes you've just got to make a decision and stick by it, and you can't be 100% sure. Anyway, back in the present moment, it's Ko Ping Chung. Completely the opposite to most of this match. The one finding himself having to come from behind. They had such a close match in the biggest match they've ever played against each other in the US Open semi-finals this time last year. This one's heading for a close finish as well. Ko Ping Chung is back to 1 behind, much to the approval of his brothers. It's 9-8. Alexander Kazakis has won the 4th rack to lead Alban Ocean 3-1, and things are really going well for Livan Corteza of the Philippines, even more so after David O'Cady missing that 4-ball. Corteza's won the last 2 racks and now leads 5-1. Well, we saw O'Cady miss the 4, but perhaps he's had a bit of fortune with where it's ended up.
Yeah, missed that by some way in the end. Got fortunate, but Corteza's back at the table, and we know how good Corteza is in this department. Maybe not right now, but it was a little tricky. Double kiss was always on. So O'Cady's got to start getting some racks on the board. The break has been a little bit hit and miss for that man right there.
Mostly miss. His 5th dry break of this last 16 encounter. Oh, what a big moment that was. That goes in. You look at where the rest of them are. It's a clear chance to get it done.
I'll tell you what, Michael, this might bring the house down this, because the crowd have really become invested in this match, and that's because it's 9-8 in a race to 10. Look where the 1 ball and the 9 is. He's going to try and go off the top rail, and he's going to try and pot the 9 past the pink 4 into the bottom left corner. This is not easy, but if he gets it, listen to the noise. This is to tie the match up.
And it would be the shot of the tournament. He's done it! It could all have been so different if Lechner had potted that one. It all would have been there for him to get through to the quarterfinals, but he left the opportunity to pull that off. And as I alluded to there, given the context and everything that's going on here, this has got to be the moment of this Hanoi Open so far. And it's taken us the full distance. We could watch this over and over again. And how knowledgeable this crowd are, Carl, because they knew what was coming, and they also knew long before the 9 got to the pocket that he'd been successful with it.
Yeah, incredible scenes here. The noise that come through the building then was incredible. It was very much reminiscent to a Moscone Cup.
Imagine if it was one of their own still here. They cheered on the Vietnamese contingent so strongly. 6 of them got through to single elimination. None of those made it any further. Well, whatever happens now, we've got a moment to remember to take away from this. But what Ko Ping Chung really wants to take away is a victory. And he will break in our final rack.
Where's the 9 ball? Where's the 9 ball?
Well,
Oh,
it never
my
quite
word.
looked like the 9 had the legs, but I think he'll settle for this.
Well, Max Lechner has got to be sat in his chair thinking, what have I got to do to beat this man?
Well, we've already seen one of the Ko brothers who's sitting there, defeated earlier today. But the other one has got a golden chance now to stay in it and to have every chance of making it back-to-back wins in these big Matchroom Open events. And the biggest of them all a fortnight ago.
He's playing it left-handed. Sometimes that means your cue ball isn't as good. Now, he doesn't need to chase the 9. I know this sounds a little bit crazy, but it's not as easy as you think that. It's not over the pocket. He's got to hit the left side of the 9. He could play the 3 into the rail off the 9 and run the table. I would say he's chasing the 9, but it is not guaranteed.
It's the 3-9 for 10-9. Ko Ping Chung was ahead for most of the contest. Max Lechner won 4 in a row to lead 9-7. But Ko Ping Chung came back. He got his chance to play a wonderful, lengthy kick combination